Welcome to this look at a new mod map on Farming Simulator 19 with me, MrSealyp. This is Homestead Economy. This is a new mod map to console. It had an update on Friday the 18th, and part of that update was console release. This is by Zoli708, 63.66 megabytes to download. As far as the map itself goes, that's the map. And it's small because when I zoom out, that's the space it takes up on a regular map size. So, what do we start with on New Farmer? That's what I usually do my map tours on. On Normal Economy, we start with field 26 and 27. We start off with the farmhouse. We've got some chickens there as well. Now, it does say it's season's ready. As far as precision farming goes, even if a map hasn't got a custom soil map added, the Giant's default soil map will go on. But something to bear in mind with that, I can't remember where I read it now, that if you use a map with the default Giant soil map, then the map maker then brings out a custom one and does an update for the map. You have to start a new save game completely, because you can't then drop onto the new soil map when you've already started on the first one. So you could potentially lose an entire save game if you go down that route. But that's entirely up to you. Biogas Plant over here is purchasable. That will set you back a whopping 22,536 to get the biogas plant. But if you want to use it, you need to own it. As far as fields go, this is another problem potentially with precision farming, in that they're in plots rather than fields. I know the whole point of FS19 was you bought plots and not necessarily just a field, but we've kind of dropped into that you're either buying plots with multiple fields or single fields and then peripheral bits. But because this comes in multiple plots, when you're doing precision farming, when you're trying to do soil testing and then get the info up for a particular field, you can't when they're in multiple plots, because it will only register one. It can't give you all the information for all of them individually. So that could potentially be a problem when they're in chunks, as they are. But the chunks aren't too expensive because the fields aren't that big. You'll see when we start off that, we drive off and you've got one field deep that way, one field deep that way, and then a section across the middle. So split into thirds, if you will. That's the map. On New Farmer, 385 out of 1,299 slots used. If you come onto this on Farm Manager, it's 367 slots out of 1,299, and Start from Scratch is also 367 out of 1,299. Farm Manager and Start from Scratch, the only difference when we look at the machinery and equipment in a minute is you don't start with either of the silos. There are a couple of silos you start with, so on those two you don't, but on New Farmer you do. If you don't want any of the machinery and you want to get the slot count as low as you can, selling it all off will get you down to 243 slots out of 1,299. Now, the Farmhouse Trigger is directly behind me here. That is not sellable, and it's not movable or anything like that. It's fixed in place. But in all honesty, because of the size of the map, you're probably not going to need to move it, really. Even if you set yourself up with a farm somewhere else, to come back to here to use the trigger is not really too much of a problem. We're going to go into the main yard first. As you can see, we do start with the dog and the kennel. Oh, that could be one of the things that's missing. So it could be silos in the kennel, possibly. Yeah, I think it is. So it's the building related things that are missing on Farm Manager and Start from Scratch. So we come into the yard, we are facing north. We've got a couple of bits of equipment, and we have our chickens. Our chicken feed area is just here. The chickens will hold 13. As far as where the egg boxes spawn, it's not a massive area. It's not complicated. It's going to be somewhere around here and potentially over here, but it's not going to be, I don't think it's going to be in there because you can't get in there to get them. But regardless, they're going to be here somewhere. If they don't spawn, there could be an issue. Moving up the yard, we've got a little bit more barn space, a few little bits of machinery dotted around. Nice bit of shelter space, and we do have a workshop trigger here. The workshop trigger is here because it's not a workshop trigger at the store. And in all honesty, it's about 100 yards away, so it's not like you've got to go far to do any work on your machinery if you do. This is a nice map for someone starting out. Again, I've said that on a few maps recently, or if you just want to scale things right back and just enjoy a bit more of just the sort of basics of farming, you know, small machinery, small fields, and just have a bit of fun rather than worrying about massive harvests and that kind of thing. Contracts are available. So we do have a tractor here, and this behind, believe it or not, is a silo. This is the silo we start with. I think it only holds 21,000 litres, but that is a silo, and we'll have a look at that. Actually, we'll look at that now in what we start with. So if we go to our garage menu, scroll right across to there. We start with the Fendt Favorite 511C, the Maxim CVX 115, a Rosselmash 330, Farmtech TDK 1600, a corn header for the Rosselmash. We've got a Polymag, Rail Polymag cultivator, seeder, some front loader attachments, a weight, the dog kennel. We do have a root crop storage, which is a mod, as is the dog kennel, and then the grain silo, yeah, 21,000 litre capacity. So these three are mods, and as far as I can tell, if we go across to our placeables, they're the only mods available. So we go right across animal pens, although weirdly the doghouse isn't showing in there as available to buy, although that one is. There's nothing under miscellaneous or any of the others, but if we come to, yeah, there's nothing under farmhouses either. So that farmhouse, like I say, is in place, but if you do want to, well, you can't place another one unless you do multiplayer. But if we go to silos and go right to the end, you'll see there's a grain silo for £5,000, the one that we've got that's sitting behind the tractor. We've got root crop storage for potatoes and one for sugar beet. 300,000 litre capacity each, 90 grand each. Now we start with one of those. We've got a potato one. And like I say, if you come onto this on Farm Manager or start from scratch, you don't have the root crop storage, you don't have the grain silo, and you don't have the dog kennel. The root crop is round behind there, which we're going to have a look at in just a moment. That's the yard. Dog's waiting quite patiently. Our harvester is sat here by the road. I've come across no traffic. There's one road that leads right across here and a few tracks. The harvester is here ready for one of our fields, 26, just there. And if we scoot up the sides here, we've got our fence with the Farmtech trailer waiting to gather the harvest. And then up round the back here, we've got another building. Oh, there is a water point, we'll have a look at in a minute as well. That's the back of the root crop storage, so when you want to take stuff out of it, you do it from there. Putting into it, you go around the other side, and you put into the root crop storage just there. And as you can see, at the end of that field, that's the northern edge of the map. I'm going to hop the fence, we'll grab the case. And when we come out the bottom of the yard, here, the end of that field, that's the southern edge of the map. So like I say, not very big at all. That's what we'll do, scoot along. Colour palette's nice, lighting seems to be pretty good. I haven't had too many issues so far with any sort of real problem dark areas. This one here is, I'm just checking my map. Pine forest. That's our sell point there for cotton and wool. So that's actually the pine forest one is our wool sell point. That's just tucked around the back there, and that behind it is the pine forest. That's our bit of forestry. So if you want to have a little go at forestry, that's why I said it's a nice kind of start out map. If you know, if you're new to the game, or you know, again, I've said this before, they're not in a patronising way, but if you've got small kids that are watching you play and they want to have a go, it would be a nice map that won't overwhelm them. Fields are fairly flat, there's not going to be anything too much, a little bit of forestry, a little bit of everything, you know. I like that. Now as far as the store goes, it's very simple, very basic. Our store is just here. The workshop trigger is in the main yard over there. We have got our sell point here, Uncle Yanni I think it is, Uncle Yanni sell point is just here, one of the main sell points. And over here we've got a livestock market trigger. There we go. Although, is that Polish? I'm not Polish. I'm assuming it's Polish, but it might not be. So livestock market, sell point, and store. As far as reset goes, that's a good point actually. You know what we'll do? Let's have a quick check on that. Let's pick a piece of machinery. I normally do this off camera and I forgot to do it. Let's take the universal bucket, reset it, and see if it's appeared here. It has, just over there. So the reset is back here at the store, but let's be honest, the farm is just there, so it's not going to be too far to take it. But if you do get something stuck or roll over, or it does happen. I should have really taken the front load of forks off this. So we're continuing west. Then we're going to head north up to the biogas plant. Then we come across the top of the map. We'll take in the other sell points. It's nice. It's not completely flat, and I know it's not huge. And I know a lot of people, if they like massive fields and they like that whole thing of, you know, take your crop and you travel across the map, you're going somewhere to sell your crops. You might not like the idea of this, but I know there are a lot of people out there that watch my videos that do like that the whole small map. It's like the tiny house movement. It's that kind of thing. It's that, you know, the small maps. It does take you back to a very basic, and I think very enjoyable. When I did my Lipinky Let's Play, I loved doing that. It was just small and compact and small stuff. So there's your sell point, just there. Digestate is here, so the byproduct from anything you put in there. Actually, that's the other thing I wanted to check, which I haven't done either. Let's go into that menu. I've got the money sitting there, so let's buy that. And then we'll go across one and go across biogas plant. What can we put into it? Okay, price 4. Silage is at 360. We can put slurry and we can put manure in. I was just checking in case it took wood chips or potatoes or anything like that. But it doesn't. It's the regular biogas type affair. And we do have a little bunker silo just here. If I open that up, so you can see fill level and compacting, but completely open-sided, so it's going to sort of pile up from there up against that wall. Let's turn that off. That's the biogas plant. Cheap as chips. Carrying along. So we are now heading east again, but on the northern edge of the map. There are a few grass fields dotted about, as you can see, mixed in with all the other crop types. I should have gone the other way, shouldn't I? Yep. I may have missed my turning. Yep, I missed my turning. It's alright. I'll go up one of the field edges. Where's the one here? Yeah, alright, there we go. So, up here, we come up to the sheep. So chickens we've already seen. They hold 13. This is the sheep pen. It's all very basic, very simple stuff. We'll get our trigger here for buying, selling, loading or unloading. Sheep will hold 80. Feed trigger is just there. Water trigger is around the side. As for where the pallets spawn, again, they're going to be here or thereabouts. I would put my money on here because that's where that's kind of cut out. So I would think there. But wherever they end up spawning, it's not going to be too difficult to find them. I wouldn't have thought. That's your sheep. Heading south, we'll follow the track. Into the trees, so everything here is hidden away to the next of the sell points. So on my right there, that pile there with the bricks on the top, that's the Tuzep sell point. That is one of the main sell points. You can also sell wool at this one too, but not cotton. If we come further up, We've got our lumber, and I think, well, it just says wood chip, but I think that's the trigger for lumber. And as you can see, you've got a little hazard mark thing here. So that's going to be for your lumber. So again, it is a bit of an assumption, but there is a wood chip pile there. And it does say wood chip on the map. So lumber and wood chips. So this in effect is your sawmill sell point. That's one of the main sell points. If we cut out around from here, we've then got the bale sell point. It's tucked around the back here. Just there, that's the bale sell point. And then we're into the last of the two animal triggers. Now these, again, these pens are in place. You can't move these, you can't sell these. But we have on the left cows, on the right pigs. That tank there is for the milk from the cows. We've got our feed troughs either side for the cows and the pigs. We do have some storage, so if you can put bales and things like that in, you can. Trigger for the cows is just there. The cows hold 20. If I jump the fence, we've got our bedding section just there. I've already said the feed trough, and the water trough is tucked around the back just there. And then for our pigs, the trigger is just here. The pigs hold 80. We've got a straw this end and there's straw that end as well. So where the actual input is for it, it's unlike, again, it's a nice small map with nice small pens and things like that. I know on some maps you have a huge expanse, a massive enclosure with all sorts of buildings around it. It's almost impossible to work things out. But I'll be honest, you're not going to have to drive very far around this to find when the trigger pops up to say you can put your straw in. It's going to be one of these here. So feed trough there, water trough to the side there. But what is interesting about this one, we've got our slurry pit and our manure here. I think, as far as I can tell, they are linked. So the cows and the pigs, when they're both producing slurry manure, it will be at one point because they're right next to each other. There aren't two separate ones for both these pens. They're both right here. I kind of like that as an idea. It's pretty cool. So from here, let's just have a look at the map, shall we? Where we've been. So from the biogas plant, we kind of came across the top here, went back across past here. Oh yeah, the root crop storage. I was like, oh yes, root crop storage, up to the sheep. Then we came down here to our wood chip sell point, to Zep, bale stack, and the two animals, cows and pigs. And then we're going to go back across towards the water point. Now with the water point, again, I've said before, it's nice to have it on the map, and I know when on FS15 it was incredibly important to find one. On FS17, not as important, but it was because we had mods then on FS17. But there are so many modded placeables for water now, and also a lot of times it was finding the ones that were free. What you often found was on the maps you could get water for free, but then if you put a placeable down you had to pay. On some maps you still had to pay, but then a lot of the placeables now, once you put a standpipe down or something like that, it's then free after you've placed it. So it's not as crucial, but we do have a point here for water to come and get it if you don't want to put a placeable down and use up precious slots and that kind of stuff. And then we head back across the main road, heading west again, back towards the farm. And that is Homestead Economy. That's the map. By Zoli 708. I hope you found this useful and informative in some way, shape or form. If you have, give us a like. If you don't subscribe yet, please do. If you want to leave a comment, feel free. And if you want to share this video, then please be my guest, whatever you should choose to do. Thanks for watching.